So I was really hoping to do this video outside, but the weather is just not cooperating for me. So I want to talk about the evolution of self. What do I mean by that? I mean, the human body almost completely changes cellular-wise every 7 years. Your hair becomes a different texture, a different color normally, depending on what's going on with your body. You know, your muscle elasticity changes, your skin completely changes, your brain continues to develop and change throughout life. You know, there's all sorts of amazing, interesting things that happen with the human body. You can develop new allergies, you can get rid of new allergies, you can, you know, hurt yourself but recover pretty quickly when you're young. You can hurt yourself and take a very long time to recover when you're older, and that change is really not like 5 years, more like 10 years. But man, I'm turning 35 this year, and let me tell you, I feel old. I miss my 18-year-old body desperately, and I have no idea what I had then. So appreciate what you got. So evolution of self. When I think of self, I think everything, you know, not just your body, but your personality, your knowledge, the things that you are passionate about, the things that you're learning about, just your overall life kind of thing, you know, being 10 versus being 15 versus being 20 versus being 25 are all completely different landmarks in your evolution history. So I wanted to start at 10, and I figured I'd just go 5 years instead of 7 because the math is easier in my head this early in the morning. So when we were 10 years old, for those of us that can remember that far back, we were in school, you know? We were just learning about history and science and that sort of thing, and really kind of getting ourselves settled into friends and, you know, things that we enjoyed, things that we liked. I can remember that I was really into marine biology, and I thought that I was going to be a marine biologist. I was going to travel the 7 seas, and I really wanted to study stingrays, manta rays, and skates. Now, I get seasick like very easily. So not realistic at the time, but that was very much my passion for marine wildlife, which is pretty cool. Now compare that 10 years old to 15 years old. We have the addition of hormones. I think everybody was boy crazy at 15. I mean, God, you know, your friends are typically still kind of the same friends unless you've moved, which I did. I was very lucky to have a fantastic stepbrother and amazing best friend at 15. My home life was kind of, you know, well, 15. Home life is always, you know, school was good. I've always done really well in school. I switched from marine wildlife to be more interested in science stuff. So instead of wanting to be a marine biologist, I wanted to do more like chemistry kind of things. I was really fascinated by that. I really enjoyed mathematics. You know, I didn't play any sports, so that wasn't really a big deal to me. I never got into that. I was always kind of interested in track, you know, the team stuff. So I ended up being a manager later in high school career. I loved the drama club. I got into the drama club. You know, I had a pretty boring teenage hood, but at 15, you know, life was pretty much about what culture told me it was supposed to be about. Watch TV, listen to the radio, you read the magazines, you find out the 10 things that make a boy like you, or the 10 fashion fall things that you have to be cool this year, this moment, right? And every kid wants that because we want to be cool, we want to be liked, we want to fit in. At 15, we want to be part of a crowd. We are really learning who we are as people. For me, I had a lot of talents coming out. You know, they're dead people, ghosts, whatever. It wasn't a big deal to me. With the hormones, I definitely probably had to deal with a lot more activity than I do now. Definitely a lot more activity then. You know, mix that in with the hormones, the boy crazy, and, you know, the pressure of just trying to be in a crowd because I was lucky enough to go to a small kind of agricultural school, I guess. Yeah, I mean, a bunch of farmers. So it wasn't like I had pressure to drink or do drugs or have sex or stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure there were groups like that, but for me, I wasn't into that. I'm very boring, like I mentioned. So switch from teenagedom at 15, switch to 20, right? And that's a huge leap. I mean, we're talking going from your high school years to your college years, okay? And I actually was a year early, so I graduated at 17. So for me, 20 was actually the year that I was probably getting ready to manage my own store, and I had slowed down on college so I could pursue my passion of managing a retail store. And that was the wrong decision. I can tell you that right now. Finish college. If you're going to do it, just do it. I recommend trade school. You make a lot more money that way. A lot more money that way. But yeah, get her done. At 20, it was boy crazy. It was very much, I was a lot more artistic then. So I was really into doing other people's makeup, doing other people's hair. Really loved fashion. Really, especially in the retail industry, you kind of get sucked into that, you know, every week there's something new to buy, something new to try, you know, that sort of thing. And at that point, I was really trying to invest in figuring out who I was. You know, at 15, you're trying to fit in with other people. At 20, you're really working on you. You're really starting the process of evolving you without all the unnecessary outside influences. Now, like I mentioned, I was in retail, so I did still have a lot of influences and a lot of pressure, but the idea of fitting in had really gone out the window after like the first 2 years of college, because I realized that the society that high school is not real world. And I'm really glad that a lot of people are saying that more often. It gets better, of course, because high school isn't real. Like, your grades are real, but the society and the kind of cultural norms that are in high school are completely not the same in the real world. So at 20, you're really looking at yourself through a completely different perspective. You're more forgiving, you're less harsh on yourself, and you're really looking at what you want instead of what other people want. So when you're interested in investing in a relationship, you're really looking at, okay, what does this person bring to the table? What do I bring to the table? And you don't always have the right answers, but it's a different viewpoint, a different perspective, which is nice, right? It's really nice. So 20 is really the beginning of investing in ourselves. Let's get to 25. 25, everyone has pretty much graduated from college. Everyone is expected to get married and have babies. I think that that's a really huge expectation for 25-year-olds. In fact, I think that's so unfair. I want to shift it to 30, 35. Like, really, don't get married until you're 30 or 35, because when you get married at 25, that's going to be your first marriage. Like, statistically speaking, it is. If you get married before 30, they have really done the studies. If you get married before 30, because you don't really know yourself before 30, you're probably going to get divorced. Unless you're lucky enough to meet someone that grows with you instead of away from you. But 25 is really tough. 25, you're really figuring out, okay, how do I be an adult? What is being an adult? What is being a partner in a relationship? What is being a wife? What is being a mother? What do these things mean? What do these roles mean to me? You know, not only in general, how does this affect me? How am I going to change? What kind of a person do I want to be? What kind of wife do I want to be? What kind of mother do I want to be? What kind of, sister do I want to be? Who am I? 25 is the point where I really think almost everyone is like, okay, seriously, I need to take care of myself. I've been taking care of other people. I've been investing in other relationships. I've been working on the idea of career. I've been working on the idea of, finding happiness through what everyone else has told me. And either it's working or it's not working. And for a lot of people, it doesn't work. So 25, we start to take our perspective again more towards the self. What does this mean to me? What do I have to give? If I were put in this scenario, what do I do? For a lot of people are mothers at 25, which blows my mind. what does that mean? You know, like, yeah, you have a kid, but are you actually going to be a babysitter? Or are you going to be a good mother, you know? And everyone has different definitions of that, you know? And what are your expectations of your partner as a father, you know? Are they even there? Are you a single mom, or are you a mom in a terrible friggin' relationship? That's 25 to me. 30. Thank God. 30 is like the sanity age, I think. For me, at least it was. I'm sure a lot of people are like way ahead of me in the game, but 30 was really my sanity. I realized who I was, what kind of roles I wanted. You know, I was working on my career. I had a really nice career. You know, I was following my passions, ghost hunting, the mediumship. I was doing all the stuff that I really loved. I was traveling. I was doing all sorts of awesome stuff. That was my prime time. You know, and I decided I really wanted to invest in a partnership, like a marriage. Sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't, but I think 30 is really when you should start looking for marriage material. You know, you're lucky if you find it beforehand. Most people don't. Or you get divorced and then you look again. And that's fine, right? As long as you learn the lessons that you were supposed to learn, whatever. Moving on. So 30 is really taking the idea of self from 25 and moving forward, right? Following our passions, metaphysics, parapsychology, all that stuff for me was my passion, and I was actively pursuing it, actively doing things, and I was really happy, really happy. 35 for me is going to be probably realizing my ongoing role as a mother. I think, you know, you have a kid, you're a mom. That's great, but what does that even mean? Like, you know, it's one thing to be a wife, you know, having the expectations of, okay, are we having traditional gender roles? Are you going to work? Am I going to work? Pretty much these days, everybody works because there's just not enough money to go around ever, and everything's expensive, and the car breaks down, and the house stuff breaks, and whatever. But as a parent, you know, especially if you don't have things down in your marriage, things get completely, right? And God forbid something goes wrong. You know, there's health issues, and money issues. There's mental health issues. There's, you know, autism. All these things are additional stress in a relationship of, you know, mother, father, child, or children, in my case. And for me, I'm really trying to figure out, okay, I know that I'm a mother, but I'm also an advocate for my son's health now. My daughter's too, but because my son is the squeaky wheel at this point, you know, how do I do that the best that I can? You know, how can I get him everything that he needs and more in an affordable way, in the way that I'm supposed to do it, all the paperwork, all the appointments, all the craziness, you know, that's where I'm at now. My hope for 40 is that he's in school, you know, he'll be 8 then, you know, and Sissy Bear will be 6, so everyone will be in school. I will hope to be back to my career. I'd like to focus back on that and hopefully get them in with traveling and doing some really fun stuff again and helping them to follow their passions. I hope that's what 40 is for me. 45 is going to be the teen years, so that will probably be a little more frustrating for me than for them. But again, for me, my role I see is as the mother, the advocate, their cheerleaders, their supporters. You know, just I feel like my life will still be centered around them probably until after their high school careers, and then it'll be back to me, and I hope to be back to try at 50. I hope to be back to traveling in my career and, you know, that sort of thing. That's where I hope to be at 55, since I'm never going to retire because it's just not feasible. I hope to be a role model to them while they're going through college and learning who they are. That's what I hope. So that's my perceived evolution of self. I would really like to invite you guys to think about, you know, where you've been, where you are, how you got to where you are, and where you're going from here, you know? I mean, I always joke about people that make like the life goals and life goal plans, but it's all teasing. Like they're totally in the right, and if that works for you, that's great. That doesn't really work for me. I have to have more flexible things than that. But you know, we have to look at where we are in the big picture for what we want for ourselves. And for me, I feel like I'm on a good path. I haven't always been on a good path, and at least I know I can look forward and see where I'm going, and that's always really, really nice. So evolution of self. Where were you? Where are you now? And where are you going? Okay. It is a big deal. It is a big deal. So think about it, you know, nothing hardcore, just think about it. I love you guys, and I love watching you evolve into who you are. If you have any questions, you can message me on the YouTube, Gmail me, or Facebook me. All right. I love you guys. Have a great day. Bye.